Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Hurdle the Line. I am not your usual host. That is usually Chapman or Ollie or Fletch. So bear with me as this is my first time. But welcome back to Hurdle the Line, brought to you by the AAW Network. I'm your host, Tom, and I'm joined as always by Batch, resident Browns
Evening.
fan, especially while Ollie is not here. He's away sunning in Spain. Very jealous as well as Sam to recap the 2026 NFL Draft, who is also of our college football royalty. So yeah, welcome to you both. And yeah, how's it going?
Yeah,
Great.
I'm slowly just over the draft now. I'm glad there's no more mock drafts having to be done.
I know. I got sick of those, to be honest. Like when you've seen 50 of them, and it's like varying positions here and there, you're like, okay, let's get to the draft at this point. So yeah, but before we get into it, don't forget to follow us and the AEW network on the socials and join our free to join Discord server. You can find all the relevant links and information in the description of this episode. And if you're on YouTube, the right below where our beautiful faces are, and if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, you'll find them in the app. But I'm just going to pass it over to Batch, who's going to run us through some of the recent news.
Well, there's not a huge amount of news, um, but we know that the deadline for exercising the fifth year option is uh, coming up. So there'll be slow trickle throughs of fifth year options. Um, Addison, Jordan Addison from the Vikings has had his fifth year option taken up, which I'm not sure what anyone makes of that because he's had a few issues off the field.
Hmm.
So I'm guessing they're hoping he's turned a corner now. Kalisha Cansey of the Bucks, he's had his fifth year option picked up now. And realistically, mainly the rest of the news is all draft related. A little bit of trivial draft news. Both Fano brothers are now at the Browns. Undrafted free agent Edge, Spencer Fano's little brother, got signed by the Browns as well.
Oh well, there you go. And then that on top of the Falcons getting Avion Terrell to pair with what is his first name? Do you
Come
remember his
on,
name?
Sam, you've got to know it.
Come on.
Who's this? Sorry,
Terrell,
Avion
It's
Terrell. Yeah.
Avion Terrell, but then
what's his
what's his
brother
brother
called?
called who already plays for the Falcons?
Oh, isn't it just AJ Terrell?
AJ Terrell, that's it exactly. Yeah, Avion Terrell and AJ Terrell, and then they had a nice moment together. Saw that on video, so it's always nice seeing, brothers in the NFL. We've had the Watt brothers. We've had a few different ones. Well, we had three Watt brothers, didn't we? Because we had JJ, we
TJ.
had TJ, and then we also had is it Derek Watt as well? He's like a fullback or something. So. Shout out to all the brothers in the NFL. But yeah, to move on to what we're actually talking about today, it's winners and
One
losers.
more on news.
Oh, go on then. Yeah, go ahead.
Pavia is now
Mm,
he went undrafted and he's trying out for the Ravens. It's strange to think that he was a Heisman finalist,
yeah.
and I'm sure Sam, you definitely have an input on this one.
Yeah, I mean he's even in college he was a bit of a hothead. He tried to stay another year. Then he decided that he was like, well, no, I'm just going to go into the NFL and someone's definitely going to pick me up. Um, And I mean, you've got to admire his arrogance a bit, and you've got to have a level of arrogance to be in the NFL, I think. But I think he takes it that little step too far, and I think it's clearly been a bit of an off put to a lot of the teams. I think there's obviously the news that when he had his interview with Gruden that he basically said that um, he didn't have an agent during his nil deals because he didn't want anyone getting 5-10% of his money because it was his money. He did end up having to get an NFL agent because I think he would have just got lost. And I think I'm right in saying that I think for NFL, the agent fees are capped at 3% anyway. So
Mm.
it probably wasn't as bad. Whereas in nil deals, I think they're a bit more. Well, there's less control over them at the moment. So I think essentially agents can charge a little bit more, especially as they're not necessarily as high as some of the deals. But I just think he's not. And to me, he's a typically good quarterback at college level, but I don't think he's ever shown enough where he's going to be necessarily like a safe pick for anyone in the NFL. I mean, I can see him going to like the UFL or the USFL or whatever and lighting it up because he has that sort of level of arrogance that you need for something like that. But I just the NFL requires a level of sort of stability and calm and arrogance, but not to the point where it's egotistical, unless you're someone elite.
There's a fine line between arrogance and confidence, isn't there?
Yeah, for sure there is. For sure there is. But yeah, so we're going to be talking about the winners and losers of the draft. We'll just kind of go through some of the teams, have a bit of a discussion, and kind of see where we get to. But I wanted to hand it over to you, Sam, to start it off with the whole Rams picking Ty Simpson at pick 13, and Sean McVay's reaction to that was pretty funny from an outsider perspective. But yeah, just interested to know your thoughts on that one.
Yeah, it was a shock for sure. There was no way that I mean, everyone was putting us with, Makai Lemon. I think he got put with multiple mock drafts. Everyone was thinking, well, if they don't go for a wide receiver, they'll probably go offensive tackle. Then there was a lot about Kenyon Sadiq, which I thought 13's a bit high for him. And yeah, we decided to go with a tight end, with a quarterback in Ty Simpson. I think a lot's been made out of nothing in terms of the McVay element of it. I think because of the fact that obviously he's usually really chirpy and bouncing off the walls, and for the first time he looked like he was like ready to kill someone. I think everyone thought he hates this pick, he doesn't want him, and then pretty much the start of day two was just him defending the pick, basically saying, "Look, I signed off on it. I agreed with the pick. I was just a bit grumpy because of other things going on," and yeah, I do think there probably was an element that he probably did agree with the pick, although or to a certain degree agreed with the pick because at the end of the day, him and Snead, they make a lot of decisions together. But I think the problem is that I think McVay saw a missed opportunity where they could have drafted down. By the sounds of it, they pretty much made the decision by January that they were going to take Ty Simpson in the first round. I think a lot of people thought it would have been 29 before they traded that for McDuffie. But at the end of the day, I get the pick now, but at the time it was like, why? Because, like I say, a lot of people are like, well, you're in win now. You need to go and get a Makai Lemon. He's your third wide receiver, and that just tops off the talent that Stafford has to throw to. But I also think at the same time, like, they're agreeing a 2-year deal with Stafford, a year extension. So he's got another this year and then adding another year onto it.
Yeah.
And I think I saw one clip of someone basically saying that what the Rams did was how rich people deal with the draft. Is they have so much available talent that they know they can just go and, oh, well, I'll go pick up my backup at 13 because who gives a shit? We've got the team. We don't need anyone else. So I get it, and I think it's, in terms of future proofing, I think it's a really good pick. But I do think we could have easily drafted back to even like 16, 17 with like the Jets or even like someone like the Vikings if they wanted it, and then taken him then. I think it wouldn't have mattered either way, but we could have then had more draft capital in the second or third or fourth or whatever round. So
yeah, I think you're right. I think that was more the thing of it. It was more he was picked at 13 as opposed to, like, people think that the Rams could have got him later in the first round if they traded down to potentially, like, in the 20s. But then you got also got to think of it in the fact of the Cardinals might have been looking around at him as well, potentially. So I understand like what they did, but it's the first time I've ever seen it where like, usually Les Snead and Sean McVay are like kind of joined at the hip, and it was the first time where it
On
just
the
looked like
same
there was
page,
just a
yeah.
little bit of tension there. So it was yeah,
Yeah,
Bats, what did you think?
Yeah, well, Dan Orlovsky pre-draft was blowing smoke up Ty Simpson, wasn't he?
mhm.
But well, he's got his boy drafted early, well, mid first round. So he's got to be happy because obviously they've got some sort of association. But I heard rumors as well. Mr. Snead was friends with Ty Simpson's father.
Mm,
Yeah. I think that I don't know if it's true about that. I think there's an element of like an alum element to it that I think because I want to say he is Snead from Colorado.
yeah, or something. He like knows the high school or something that the dad
Yeah,
coaches at, maybe, or something like that. So
there's some link with it, but
yeah.
this is the problem. I think it's also a case of I think had we needed had we not gone and used that 29th pick, I think people wouldn't have even questioned it at 29, or
Mm,
even if we'd have traded up a little bit
yeah.
into like 20, 21, 22, whatever. I think it's just their way of seeing it is doesn't matter what pick it is, we're going to just go and get him. And I
Mm,
do think that that's an element of luxury because of the fact that we have a team. It's not like, you know, I think had we needed a cornerback or had we desperately needed an offensive tackle or a wide receiver, then I think that probably would have taken precedent. But I think the team that, Snead and McVay obviously feel that they've got enough, obviously, with the trade, basically getting the Chiefs backfield that they thought, well, that's enough. And yeah, I mean, the only other thing you can think of, obviously, saying we were getting Makai Lemon, or arguably looking at Makai Lemon, we've proven in the draft that we can take a late wide receiver and turn him into gold. So,
mm,
and again, we saw that with how they approached the CJ Daniels pick because I think they traded up from, was it 207 to 189 and gave away 2/7 for it, which was a lot. It seemed like a lot. I know it's like basically a sixth and 2/7 for a higher sixth. And it's like, it seems a lot to me anyway.
mm.
So they obviously, again, knew what they wanted to go and get, who they wanted to get, and just went for it. So, you know, it's, I think it just, I mean, I was looking at some other things, some other picks like, Stribling pick, and we'll come on to probably a lot of others. It feels like that we don't see, like, what we think we know about the draft gets blown completely out of the water when the draft actually happens and things
Well,
are all over the
I
place.
I saw a video of Rams fans booing when you drafted Donaldson,
Yeah.
which proved that fans know a lot less than
You
the
mean Aaron Donald?
Yeah. So
Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
booed
But you always
Giannis.
get that though. You get like I remember when like obviously I know it's a while ago now, and now it's proven it was the right pick. But I remember when the Chiefs drafted up to take Mahomes, people are like, "What are they doing?" Like all these analysts and stuff were like, "They're drafting a guy with like no footwork. Like what's he gonna do? Like he's played in this offense, and that's not gonna work in the NFL." So it's like there's always something to be said, and I understand that as well because the majority of players that do get drafted don't end up working out. You hope that you're the exception, but the rule is that what two
I
thirds
heard
two thirds of them don't work out. So
I heard a stat the other day on Talksport
mm,
pre-draft, and they were saying only 25% of first round picks actually work out.
yeah, that's it exactly. So it's a gamble, but it's one that you're willing to take the franchise forward. And I guess to just kind of put a button on the end of the Rams talk as well. I think it was more from the perspective, at least some people from the other side are like that you're in a win now mode, you're in the Super Bowl window. And it was just a pick that could have been the value for like the offense or what have you. So, but I totally understand, you do need to plan for the future. Matt Stafford is 37 years old.
It's
He's coming
starting
off
to
an
age
MVP
out.
season, going to be 38 maybe at the start of the season. So he's only got a finite number of years left. So I understand the kind of succession plan. But yeah, to move
I think
on back
just
to
very quickly
yeah,
from the other side of it, I think it's in terms, obviously, if we talk about losers, the Rams from that perspective being the 13th pick, it is a of all the picks in that first round, it's the lowest grade I think I've seen everywhere, which is fair enough.
yeah.
But from a Ty Simpson perspective, he couldn't have asked for any better.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
His situation, I mean, you could see why his beaming like smile, like going into press conference and stuff, because he was like, I want to be a sponge to like Matthew Stafford and everything. Which for him, it's a perfect situation. Like you're there with a team that's competing at the highest level, and
A team that wants
barring a
you,
couple of things
obviously.
last season, they could have been the ones hosting that NFC Championship game. So yeah, I'm sure he's ecstatic.
You could tell he was as well. He was
Yeah,
absolutely his tits off for it. But
100%. What
yeah,
about Sabat?
No,
Tell me about your winners.
Cleveland Browns is one of my winners. I think we had a very good draft. We fleeced the Chiefs because realistically, no, we were looking at Fano at 6,
Yeah.
but we drafted back and got Fano at 9 and an extra 2 picks. We took Casey Conception. We desperately needed something else in the wide receiver.
I love that pick.
Yeah, I was quite happy with that. But the one problem is he's known for drops. Then again, you're not a Browns receiver if you're not known for drops. And Joku, when he was tight end, he dropped quite a few. Judy dropped quite a few. Do you know what I mean? And then Denzel Boston, I think that could be a home run pick.
My favorite player,
again.
one of my favorite players in the draft. Ollie actually messaged me afterwards to be like, "Are you annoyed that we picked him like one pick before you got to pick again?" And I was like, I actually wasn't, to be fair. Like I was happy that he got drafted to like
I
the
saw
Browns, to be fair.
him mocked in the first round.
Yeah.
So I think that's good value to get him in the second.
No, you got him in the first, didn't you? Pick 28.
Nah, 39.
39.
Was it?
Yeah. Second, yeah.
That's crazy, to be fair. Yeah.
And then the safety we picked up at 58.
Yeah,
McNeil Warren. Now that was a great pick because he was mocked to go in the first round as well. Obviously, I know the competition that he played against because I think if I'm right in thinking this, Sam, I think he played in like the Sun Belt or something. So like he wasn't playing at the highest level of competition, but his skills are, he showed the sort of skills that he can play with. So I guess that might be one of the reasons that he fell, that he hadn't played like
high level.
Top
he was
five.
at Toledo, so yeah, he was playing in one of the group of 5, and I think that always has its own little I don't know, negative element to it, but he like you say, he proved himself in playing multiple times. So yeah, I think it is one of those where I think he if there was a few teams that needed safeties, but they went elsewhere. So I think that was the reason he fell, but he still was 3rd safety off the board still. So
yeah,
and he fell into our laps. Let's be honest. Andrew Berry did well with those picks up to there. Barber, I don't know a lot about. Sam might be able to tell me more. You're the college guy, aren't you, Sam?
Yeah, I've not got a extensive knowledge, but he was at Miami and he was a starter at Miami. So Miami were they've reached the college the natty, so he was able to that offensive line. I don't think he was necessarily. I think to a certain degree, I do think he benefited from having some of the other like Mawagoa next to him and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's still a good pick.
He was another need though. And then center Parker Brailsford from Alabama. I've seen video packages of people saying he was one of the best centers in the draft. I don't know again, but Ollie Aliusi or whatever his name is. He's a Browns reporter. He said he was one of the best centers available in the draft. And then in round 5, pick 149, we got the second JJS linebacker, which I just like him for the name. I think it's cool. I don't know a lot about these late round picks. Joe Royer from Cincinnati, but I heard, I believe, Joe Royer was playing for Ohio, but then his mum, I think, got ill, so he moved back to Cincinnati to be closer to the family, and then played for the Bobcats. So, it's good that he knows where his roots are. And then obviously you got the athletic quarterback, Taylor Green.
Wouldn't be an NFL draft without the Browns taking a quarterback.
Yeah, which is
true.
if he can be developed, though, he's immobile. Let's be honest, he's second highest second best quarterback 40-yard dash in years.
Yeah, I think he's going to get. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets put into like a Taysom Hill role and starts getting used as like a tight end sort of figure with, or like on trick plays and things like that, because he has that movability to him.
Yeah. Interview with Andrew Berry, to which he was asked, is there any chance of moving Green to a tight end row? To which Berry said, no, he's going to be used as a quarterback. But he also said Dylan Gabriel's going to be going nowhere either. So how are we keeping 4 QBs on the roster?
Well, I'll tell you one team that I thought smashed out of the park again, even though I hate to say it, was the Eagles. Every time they get to draft season, Harry Roseman seems to cook. Getting Makai Lemon at 20 was great value. And then on top of that, they get Eli Stowers. They get Ewa Bernard as well, who's, a guy that's never played the game before, but, he's come over from Nigeria, part of the International Pathway Player Program. And, he's got the upside. I think he's like 6'5". They basically compared his physique to Myles Garrett, and whenever you're getting compared to Myles Garrett, that's not a bad thing. So yeah, he cooks once again. I don't know why teams continue to trade with the Eagles. Like, they're already a good team, and then they always seem to find their way when it comes to this. Not only that, they also traded for Jonathan Grenard as well during the draft, which I had a feeling that was going to happen. That Grenard, I knew he was going to get traded. I just didn't know who to. And the Eagles get richer on that D line. I think he signed a 4-year, $100 million contract. So yeah, the Eagles just get richer and richer. And one of the losers, I would say, was, if not just for the Eagles anyway, is the Steelers, because not only are you on the phone to Makai Lemon to be like, we're going to take you here, and then he's like, oh, well, the Eagles are calling me. So, the Steelers lost out on that one. They did get Max Iheanacho, which was, I think that was a good pick for them, but they just got a lot of players that aren't going to be immediate starters. And on a team that's, they're trying to compete right now. They got 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers, who we suppose is coming back. And then they've drafted Drew Aller as well, didn't they, in the 4th round?
Yeah. The 3rd round.
Is it the 3rd round?
Yeah, 76th pick.
Yeah. They didn't just draft him. And then he was he the one that's also, was he a Browns fan?
Yeah,
that one. Yeah,
refused to put on the Steelers
he refused to put on the
hat.
That was funny. That was funny. He had the Steelers hat, but he grew up a massive Browns fan, so like he was conflicted about putting it on the hat.
How's he going to be able to play in a jersey then?
Yeah. No, that's it exactly. He's just going to have to swallow his pride for that one. But
I'm sure there were plenty of Browns fans that absolutely loved it.
And
No,
what
me being
about
one.
you? What about you, Sam? Have you got any more winners that you picked out?
Yeah, I really liked the New Orleans Saints draft. I think
Mm.
they absolutely cooked in the draft this year. And again, it sort of pains me to say because I don't particularly like the Saints. But I mean, yeah, taking Jordan Tyson at the 8th pick, I think was an absolutely fantastic pick. I know that he's got his issues, and you know, there's the potential that he could get injured. He reminds me a bit of like a Michael Thomas-esque pick, which they're used to having Mike Thomas. I think it just the injury issues that concern me, especially with the fact that Larve spends a lot of time on the sidelines.
Mm.
Kristen Miller at defensive tackle, I thought was another good pick, and somewhere that they needed to add a bit of depth to. That defense is extremely young and is only getting better. Oscar Delp in the third, I think, was a fantastic pickup as well. I think someone, maybe sort of a year ago, I think Delp was definitely being sort of touted to be arguably tight end number one off the board. To get him in the third's a good, he'll develop, and to go into that grouping with the likes of Juwan Johnson, I think, and Noah Fant will really help him. And then they also picked up Bryce Lance as well. So Trey Lance's brother, a wide receiver. So that should be an interesting one. And they also picked up someone who I really liked in the later rounds was Barrion Brown from LSU. Again, he was someone I was really intrigued to see where he went. And then also probably the only one where I think this is more name and combine hype than anything else is Lorenzo Styles. I think for a 5th round, it's great.
Yeah.
But I think the only reason that he's been picked is because he is rapid. Like he is a secondary to his brother. He didn't have too many games at Ohio State. Obviously, he's playing with his brother, but at the same time, he's having to, he lost out his place to Caleb Downs for the whole time he was there. So, he played games, but it wasn't like he's the lesser of the two Styleses. But overall, I just think it was a very well drafted board, and I think to get everything that they needed, as well as that trade for Tyree Wilson, who again was a top 10, number 7th pick from the Raiders in 23. So again, that trade was really good for them, and again, it adds another piece on that O-line, on that D-line as well. So yeah, I think they absolutely cooked it, and especially when they're in a division where it's for the taking, they needed to have a good draft, and I think that's what they've done. And it sounds like Tyler Shough is going to have a good, from all intents and purposes, if he can have a good season with, be protected well, he should do well.
Yeah, no, that's
I
great. And then what about you,
genuinely-
Bats? What? So you talked about winners, the Browns. What about what was the team that you thought missed the opportunity, or out there that didn't quite make the impact that you thought they might do?
Just looking through now, obviously Pittsburgh, you've said, so I can't. But then again, I'll be accused of anti-bias because they are our rivals.
Yeah.
But who did Strebling go to again?
49ers.
Yeah, I didn't think the Niners had the best draft. I know Gary's not going to be happy with that, but I've read that it was actually an accident drafting him. Like someone said a joke, "Oh, draft Strebling," and then all of a sudden they actually put the card in. But give me 2 seconds.
I mean,
what about you, Sam? Then what about you in terms of losers?
There were two for me, two big ones. I think the 49ers was one. I think all of their picks just seemed to be reaches. Like obviously Deshaun Stribling, I didn't even have him on my board, and he went off wide receiver 6. Kalon Black ended up being, I think, the 3rd tight end off the board. Third running back off the board.
Yeah, round 3, pick 90.
Thought that was a bizarre pick. Romello Height, another one, edge rusher. To be fair, I didn't go too far past about 10 because there was about 10
Mm.
going to get drafted in the first round anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
So I didn't really read too much into him. They did seem to get an interesting one, who was someone who I kept picking up in drafts in the later rounds. I'm talking like 6th, 7th.
Yeah.
Was Efesciennes Prysock.
Oh no way! I
From
actually
Washington.
did I not
Yeah.
talk about Ephesians Prysock? He was
Yeah.
one of my favorite players to research because we were looking for like late round flyers, and I was like, a guy called Ephesians Prysock. Like, obviously, I'm going to research this guy, which is
Yeah.
because he's 6'4". He's got good skills. He's just like he's a bit raw as well, which usually happens with guys later in the draft anyway. But
Yeah.
to have the wingspan that he does, 6'4", he's got ball skills and stuff as well. But yeah, what he caught your eye.
Yeah, I did sort of. I was having him going about the 6th round, but I
Yeah.
thought he would pick up. For him to go in the 4th again, it's a bit of a reach, which it seems to be a theme with the 49ers. But I think it's a good pickup. It's too early, I think, for him. But again, I can't really say much about reaches when we've taken Simpson. So I think that one. The other one I was really sort of disappointed by, more so because of what they needed, or what I thought that they needed, was the Titans. I'm not saying their picks were bad.
Yeah.
I just don't understand them. Like, yeah, and I get that they needed a wide receiver, but I certainly wouldn't have taken Carnell Tate at 4.
Yeah, but they were desperate for Jeremiah at 4, weren't they?
They were, but then why not trade up and try and take Jadarian Price if you were that bothered about needing a high-level white running back? Like, if you knew you weren't going to get Love, go and get him. I get why they've taken Tate, and I think they do need wide receivers, but again, they've got Calvin Ridley. They've just traded for Wan'Dale Robinson, or they picked him up off the free agency. Like, to me, O-line is what they need. They need to protect Cam Ward. And this is something that we discussed when we were doing the mock draft. I was picking Jeremiah Love because that's where I thought they were going to go. But actually, when you look at it, the sensible pick probably would have been someone like Francis Mauigoa. Instead, they take Carnell Tate, and then with the 31st pick, they trade up to take Keldrick Folk, an edge rusher. But again, the Titans' defense wasn't awful. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't awful. So do you really need to be adding an edge rusher when you need...
It wasn't great, though. It wasn't great. It wasn't that. I get what you mean. It wasn't awful. It was very middle of the pack, though. So I understand why they bulked out the defense. But you're right. Taking only one O-lineman. They took an offensive guard, Fernando Carmona, out of Arkansas. And he was the only one that they took. So you're right. For a need that they had, they clearly believe in the guys that they have. But if there's anything that we saw last year, those guys weren't good enough to protect Cam Ward. So
they did take the center Pat Coogan in the 6th, but again, what's a 6th round pick in 6th round center realistically going to do? I mean, I don't know much about Pat Coogan. He was at Indiana, so again, potentially, you're looking at a natty winner. So, but I like the pick of Anthony Hill Jr. I think it's a really good linebacker, but I'm not sure how where the logic is in picking him. The only one that I was really impressed by was Nick Singleton in the 5th round. And he's one to probably watch going forward because obviously they only have Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears. Maybe Michael Carter, I think, is the 3rd one. If Nick Singleton turns up like the one not that played for Penn State last year, but the year before, he could quite easily get into that, potentially RB1, RB2 status because he has the ability. It's just, like pretty much all of the Penn State players, they were just shut the bed last year. So it's one, but that was another one I wasn't sure about. And, probably the only other one I wanted to mention, and this is not because it's necessarily bad, because they had a very good draft and a very weird draft.
Mm.
all in one pick or in two picks, and that was the Cowboys. They went from
Mm.
having arguably one of the best picks of the draft in
Caleb
Caleb Downs.
Downs. Yeah.
And in the second pick, they took, was it
Malachi
Lawrence?
Lawrence out of UCF. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. He'd been comped to them a lot though. Like I don't know why. Like
yeah,
maybe it's the kind of style of edge rusher that he is something that
yeah.
they need. But yeah, I do agree. Like I mean, I think
380.
Caleb Downs is a home run pick.
Oh
Like
yeah,
getting him at 11 was incredible value. I thought he might go in like top six, top five. And then for him to drop to 11 and then straight into the Cowboys. Well, I mean, they traded up for him, didn't they? One pick
they traded from 12 to
from
11 with the
12 to
Dolphins.
11 to get him. And he's going to be, and you know, a Cowboys defense that's mightily struggled last season. The
Mm.
offense can put up points. You know, we've already seen that. We saw it last season. They played great. Obviously, there's still the question marks lingering over George Pickens or whether he's still going to be in Dallas. He still hasn't signed his tag yet. So, you
Little
know,
bit of
there's a chance
breaking
that he
news.
could. Huh?
Little bit of breaking news.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of the Cowboys, they've just signed Valdez Scantling to a 1-year deal.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, I don't think that means that George Pickens is on the move because bless him, Marquez Valdez-Scantling played for the Chiefs, and I barely even knew he was there most of the time, other than the AFC Championship game, which I much appreciate him for.
But then the
So
year before, was he on the Saints?
yeah, he was on the Saints. He was on the
Oh,
Packers. Initially, he was on the Packers with Rodgers. Then he
But
was
then
on
when
the
he went to the
Chiefs. Then he was on the Bills, the Saints. He's been all around the
at the
league.
Saints though, he had
wasn't
that
United.
back end of the season where he was just catching everything.
Yeah, which is what he hadn't done the majority of his.
Yeah.
The reason why his career tailed off was
Yeah,
because,
exactly. That's it. Exactly.
but that's again, that's an odd one because you go back to who was it that they took for like a
Anthony
fourth round pick? They brought in
Anthony
someone from like 2 years ago. Was it like someone like Jalen Tolbert, someone like that?
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Brought him for
yeah,
like
yeah.
a fourth round pick, and everyone was like, "What the hell's that about?" I don't think it was Tolbert, but it was someone like that. I'll see if I can find it, but it was
Right.
very bizarre that they took him.
Wasn't Flanoy, was it? He's not a fourth round pick, I don't
No,
think.
But yeah, as you were saying with the Chiefs, Tom,
Yeah.
not Chiefs, the Cowboys, sorry. Their next pick at 92 was another edge. So
Mm.
obviously, Big Bad Jezza was a little bit raging still with their defense.
Well,
'Cause-
did you see the Cowboys picture just made me laugh. I don't know if you saw it, Sam, as well. Jerry Jones just showed how out of touch he is with the word. He's holding a phone. He's trying to take a photo when it's on the home screen. It's not even
yeah,
like the camera bit's not even on. It's literally just the home screen.
yeah.
And Jerry Jones, and it's just that just epitomizes Jerry Jones to me. It's like an old
Well,
senile man that runs a team that he wants to make relevant again. But
It was
talking
Jonathan
of
Mingo was the guy I was thinking of.
oh, Jonathan, yeah, that was a weird pick. I
They,
remember that.
they got him in for like a fourth, didn't they, or something silly?
Yeah, would they? Yeah, because and he initially was with the Panthers, wasn't he? Right,
yeah,
and
they
then he got
traded for him.
traded to the Cowboys, but he's done nothing. So it's that was 100%. I agree with you. That was an interesting one. I was going to
Talking of
shout out a team. Well,
talking of
if I can shout, wait, no, go on, Match.
phone cock ups, did anyone see the Jim Harbaugh? It was on the phone.
Yes, yeah.
I'm gonna FaceTime you and kept the phone at his ear. Hello, mate, you all right?
While he was FaceTiming him, yeah, yeah. They were
Sorry.
one of my winners in the draft as well. You know, even as a division rival, I really liked what the Chargers did. I think it kind of showed what Mike McDaniel, when he's part of an offensive scheme, not as the head coach, but as the guy that kind of can be listened to, and they got his type of players. I mean, Akeem Mesidor. Even though he's on the older side, like he's gonna come in, he's a polished pro. He's a really good pick. They took Jake Slaughter, Brennan Thompson, who, funny enough, I don't know if you've seen the video as well. But Mike McDaniel was literally there saying, if you somehow go up and take Brennan Thompson with this pick, I'll take my shirt off, which he
In the
didn't end up
draft room.
doing, but he did.
Yeah, yeah.
He was very excited for that one. And then, typical Chargers and Jim Harbaugh, they went, what did they pick? One, two, three offensive linemen, two guards. They needed guards. The guard play from the Chargers as a Chiefs fan last year was absolutely atrocious. I mean, both their tackles were out. But, the guard play was just, I mean, it was the worst in the league, to be honest with you. So I think they really bolstered their team and it kind of built it around the sort of team that they want as well. Kind of a smash mouth physical team, big offensive lineman, pushing up front. So I thought it was a good draft by the Chargers.
Yeah, you can tell that from the it was four offensive linemen is just that's a lot.
It's just Jim Harbaugh, basically, is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they, realistically, probably maybe Jake Slaughter might be the only one that's probably going to be, because I think their center was atrocious last year as well, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
So it's possible that someone like a Jake Slaughter could start, but I think what they definitely needed to do was to build out the O-line, because that was one of the fundamental issues with it was Joe Alt, and who was the other guy that got injured at the start of the year?
Yeah, Rashawn Slater.
It was basically those two, and they had nothing else.
Yeah.
And that was the problem. So that those two are going to be starters next year, once they're back from injury. So they just needed players that were going to be good enough to step up when they weren't available.
Yeah, 100%. Have you guys got any more losers that you thought? Because I've got one, but I don't know if you guys had any more.
I thought the Commanders had an average draft.
Okay. Other than Sonny Styles.
Yeah, great pickup on him, but then they didn't draft again till 71. And then they took Antonio Williams from Clemson. And then it was like 5th, 6th, and 7th. And they took another quarterback, which, fair enough, taking a swing in round 7 on a quarterback, but from Rutgers. Do you know what I mean? If you were going to go quarterback, you would have took a swing at someone who could, maybe even Pavia. I know we've discussed him, but surely you would take a swing on someone that was a Heisman finalist. Attitude stunk, yes, but surely he achieved a little bit more than Ethan Kaliakmanis.
Yeah, I think the thing with the Commanders as well is that they only took one wide receiver, whereas I feel like that's the one of the areas that they really struggle with outside of Terry McLaurin. Who is their wide receiver too? Who is going to be that other difference maker on the roster? I don't think they currently have it. And then taking Antonio Williams, they're hoping he can be that guy.
Aren't they still?
I don't think it's Deebo Samuel. He didn't sign back, did he?
I was just about to.
No, he hasn't signed back.
No. He's a free agent. Yeah.
Ayuk. They've been linked with Ayuk or like off.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's going to happen, but like, when is it going to happen though? Because like
June 1st.
Because the 49ers are still hopeful of trading him.
But well,
injuries that he's had.
That's the thing. From what I've heard is the Niners basically said they were going to release him.
Yeah.
And the Commanders basically said, well, we'll take him if he's going. And then they've basically gone, well, we're not going to release him knowing you're going to take him, so you can buy him or trade for him. And now there's this standoff as to who's going to blink first in terms of this. But the thing is, the longer it goes on, for me, I think it just becomes more of a reality that the Niners will have to drop him, because they've already automatically said, by no means is he playing for us next year. So,
admittedly, from what I've read towards the back end, his attitude was terrible. He wasn't turning up to the facility for rehab or anything.
Oh yeah, that's why his knee injury went on for as long as it did, because he wasn't committed from the start. If he was, he might have been able to make it back, but because he kind of slow played it, means that the injury takes longer to heal. And then even when it does heal, you still got that kind of damage anyway, that tissue damage. And then teams are, scared to go after. I mean, we saw it with Max Crosby, the long-term status of him. That's the reason why the Ravens didn't, kind of chickened out of the deal in the end because they were like, I mean, the Commanders don't want to give up like some value for a player that maybe sees the field and then just gets injured and then is done like for a career. So because it's a shame with him though, because
He
I
has real.
mean, he was really good. Like when he was good, he was excellent. Like I think he had 12 touchdowns, 1,400 yards, something like that in 20. Was it 22? Was it 22? I think it was 22.
And then didn't
It was the year. It was the year before he got the big contract, wasn't it? He played really
Yeah.
well, and then he got the contract and obviously got injured.
Was it the year? Was it the year they went to the Super Bowl and they played the Chiefs? I think it might have been that year.
Yeah, because what was the year where I think didn't Debo start off injured and then when
Yeah,
he came back he couldn't get back in that
yeah,
position. He started
yeah,
playing into like gadget play. So,
exactly. Yeah,
and then
I think that was the year for
didn't
sure.
Ayuk have a load of trade interest as well? Like Steelers were trying to get him. There
Yeah,
were rumors we were talking
I
about
mean
him,
the Chiefs were looking at him as well. To be fair, like, but
and
off
then
the
he
back
got
of
the
the
big
injury.
contract.
Yeah, and then he got that. Well, he held out for a long time. It was quite ugly, really, like between him and the 49ers. Like he didn't turn up to mandatory minicamp, any sort of, and all that kind of thing. I don't think he wasn't even going to training camp either. And then eventually the holdout ended. They paid him a boatload of money, and then they've regretted ever since. So, um, but I was gonna say one of my losers was the Jags. I just don't really feel like they did a whole lot. I mean, the players that they did take, they took, was it a tight end in the
yeah, Nate Boakert, yeah.
yeah, but like that was a reach at the position that they took him. Then the next guy they picked was also a reach. So like
Albert Regis, defensive
yeah, there
tackle.
you go, a reach for Regis.
The
But
one,
I
to
just
be fair,
think
the one pick I thought they did really well was Emmanuel Pragnon.
yeah, I agree. I agree. Emmanuel Pregnon was a really good pick, and I was
Yeah,
surprised that he fell that far.
yeah.
But also the other picks, none of them really stand out as, real impact players that other than Pregnon, who's going to go in and play, right? So I thought that was interesting, especially with the kind of free agency that they had. They lost a lot of players because I was even listening to a podcast today, and it was like, are the Jags actually good, or did all their good players leave in the offseason? Like Devin Lloyd had a career year, then left. Travis Etienne had a really good season, then left. Obviously, they got Bashal Tutin, but those rookies that they had last year, they didn't have the biggest impact. Obviously, they traded picks for Travis Hunter, and then now he's slated to be full-time corner. So it
Didn't
kind of feels like with the young GM that I'll be interested to see how this draft class pans out.
Parker Washington, he was a rookie last year, wasn't he? Undrafted.
If he was a rookie, then to be fair, he was a good pick. Like he played really, really well for them, especially down the stretch.
I'm not sure about that actually.
I'm sure he came in as
I
a
don't think he was a
UDFA.
rookie.
No, he's a third year.
Third year player.
Oh, is he third? Is he?
So
He's only 24.
yeah, so he signed in 2023.
Oh, he was a
Jags.
6th rounder. Sorry,
And then this was his breakout year.
but he had a great year.
Oh, he did.
Yeah,
He did. This was his as Sam just said there. He had a breakout year for sure. He did. And I'll tell you what. I got two more winners, and then we can kind of wrap up a little bit. But yeah,
One thing I will mention about the Jags is,
yeah,
and obviously you mentioned our Bashal Tutin and they signed Chris Rodriguez, didn't they? From the
yeah, they did. Yeah, in free agency.
I'm concerned they didn't pick up a running back. There was some good running backs that went in later rounds that they, someone like a Jonah Coleman, which I think he went to the Broncos.
Yeah,
I would have been looking at someone like him. Now I know that maybe they thought, well, we wanted Pregnon, but again, I would have added to that because as much as Tutin did all right in his first year, I mean they lost. That's their starter, and I don't think he's necessarily an RB1. I don't think Chris Rodriguez is an RB1. So to me, someone like a Jonah Coleman or is it Emmanuel Emmanuel, the other running back, who was touted to do really well, and he didn't go that high. I'll have to look him up. Let me have a quick look. Manuel Wilts? No, it's not him. He's there. I'm not sure who it was now, but there was
No, that's
another
right.
there was another running back which I had that I thought would have been useful. Was it, Emmett Johnson? Emmett
Oh yeah,
Johnson.
he went to the Chiefs.
Yeah. Like, why not go and get someone like him? Because
Yeah.
again, he was another one that was linked with being a lot higher than where he went. Mike Washington, I think he ended up going somewhere like the Steelers or something like that. So again, he would have been someone. I think there were plenty of running backs where they had opportunities to go get one that would have competed in that field,
Yeah.
and they didn't go and get them. Oh, he went to the Raiders, so he's not even going to play because he's going to be behind Genty. So
Mm. Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. I'll tell you one team that I thought it was interesting because as much as I think Jeremiah Love is, generational talent, where he was picked, I still think the Cardinals, man, like I don't know what it is about them. Like it's just picking a running back at 3 makes me nervous, to be honest. Even with a player of that quality, him going there. But I just think, yeah, running back at 3 is rich for my blood anyway. So, and then the rest of their draft
he's
kind
going to
of
be on 50
left a
million.
bit to be desired, even with the fact that they couldn't even get in contact with Jeremiah Love. They didn't even have his number or something. So that was what I found hilarious is that you're an NFL team. You've literally done all this prep on all these players, and yet you can't get in contact with the guy that you're trying to, they had a wrong number for Jeremiah Love, which is hilarious to me, to be
And
honest.
then they
You got
took
some thought.
It
Yeah.
also wasn't a pick they needed. Again, if you look
No.
at who they brought in Algier, they already have Benson, they have Connor, they have is it Bam Knight is still there? Like they've got so many running backs. Why have you then gone? I mean, and I get it. Jeremiah Love is an exceptional talent, but you don't need a running back. They could have easily traded that pick away for someone who did want Jeremiah Love or someone who wanted, I don't know, Arvell Reese, because realistically
Mm,
available at that point. Like they could have got so much for the future because they know that they were going to need a quarterback. They weren't going to get a good one this year. So why not trade your third round pick, get like I don't know, like a ninth or a 10th pick,
mm.
and get a next year's 20 like first, and use that to then trade up and go and get, probably what's likely going to be maybe someone like a Julian Sane or an Arch Manning. Like use that to get someone that you actually need, not a running back to add to your 20 running backs.
true. They did take Carson Becker.
Yeah, in the third, and I'm going to be honest, he's useless.
I
Watching him,
think
watching him in college, he scares me thinking he's going to be an NFL quarterback. He could prove me wrong, but I would rather take probably I'd rather have Cole Payton over Carson Beck personally.
Mm.
I just don't rate Carson Beck. I think as soon as he sees any trouble, he shits the bed. So I think it's an odd pick again because again they need someone who's going to come in and probably isn't going to be a starter this year, but it's probably going to be a future starter, and I don't see it with him. But again,
I've got another team that I thought smashed it, to be honest. And it's surprising hearing this team be called up saying smashed it when they've been one of the worst teams of recent times. I mean, they didn't even get an interception last season. That gives you a clue of who it is.
yeah,
But the New York Jets, I thought they smashed the draft, to be honest. I mean, David Bailey as your first pick, premier pass rusher, the most polished pass rusher in this draft to go in and perform straight away. Then Kenyon Sadiq is your second pick, which I thought was a great pick. Then Omar Cooper as well. Considering the Jets had one of the worst offensive um, depth charts in the NFL last season, for them to have turned it around in one off season is pretty is pretty impressive to me. So I think Omar Cooper combined him with obviously Garrett Wilson, and then they also got
They have as well. Oh, sorry, this is the Jets runabout.
no,
Garrett,
who's the one that they got from the
AD
Colts?
Mitchell.
Yeah, AD Mitchell as well. So he's got potential. Then you pick, our short king himself, D'Angelo Pons gets picked. We love it. We love to see it. He's 5'9", but he's just got the heart of a lion. So that I just thought they really did well, as did I thought the Giants as well. I thought it was a kind of it was a good draft from the Giants and a very John Harbaugh type draft. They took what's his name early. They took
Arvell Reese.
no, it took Miami.
Oh, Mug
Oh,
Yeah, they
Mamagoa,
took
yeah.
Noah early on. Then they took
Noah.
Arvell Reese. And then
Colton
they
Hood.
just kind of supplemented some of it, especially because I think their
Colton
defense
Hood,
really
yeah.
struggled last year. So I thought that they did well. And then one more to shout out for me as well. Obviously, I'm wearing the gear right now, so I'm going to shout out my team.
I
Um,
thought you had a good draft as well.
I thought we had a really good draw. I understand that you're saying that we reached or whatever at 6, but I've read a lot of reports since then that both the Commanders and the Saints were interested in taking Mansour Delane.
Oh,
Um,
don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you reached. I'm just saying we would have took Fano at 6,
mm,
but we could take him 3 picks later and get another 2 free picks.
yeah. I mean, it was impressive maneuvering from Andrew Berry, but I think it was exactly what the Chiefs needed in their first pick. Mansour Delane, he's a cornerback, plays great in press man coverage. He's a sticky corner. He's
He's going
kind
to be
of
elite.
quite similar to Trent McDuffie. Like, I'm not saying he's going to be Trent McDuffie, but he's a similar sort of player, and I think he'll be perfect for the Spags defense. Add that to Peter Woods, who I thought was another great pick, even though it was like late. He's got some development to do, don't get me wrong, but he's
Lots of
got kind of the traits. And now he's learning on a D line with Chris Jones, one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL. And I don't know if you saw it, Sam, but Andy Reid was talking about it when they drafted him, and he said, "Oh, like he's kind of Aaron Donald-esque, not in terms of like everything he does, but the size, the build. He's a bit undersized, but he's got that quickness off the line as well. So I'm hoping that comp does does come to be true. Ed Russer, R. Mason Thomas, yeah, a slightly undersized guy as well, but he's explosive off the line, and the Chiefs have struggled with the edge play recently. Across from George Karlaftis, they basically have nothing. And then getting Jaden Canardi as well in the fourth round, I thought that was a great pickup because he was really good in coverage. So to get him and Mansour Delane, then as you said, Emmett Johnson as well, who led the Big Ten, I think, in rushing last year as well. So I just thought there were some really good picks. And then Garrett Nussmeier was an interesting one in the seventh, but I understand it with getting Justin Fields, and if he doesn't play well, then you can put Garrett Nussmeier out there potentially. Who knows? He's going to be a backup either way. So I was really happy with what Brett Veach did. To kind of secured the needs that the Chiefs had most: edge, most foremostly, and then also defensive back, cornerback. So.
Nussmeier is an interesting one because I do think he'll do really well. And am I right in saying that you've also picked up Jaden Knott as well? Did you get him in a UDFA?
Yeah, I think so. We've got a load of UDFAs. We've got some absolute monster that's like 6'4", but you can only run like 2 routes. But like he's like the second coming of Megatron or whatever, according to all these people. It's like, I mean, yeah, let's slow down a little bit. He's UDFA, and there's a reason he didn't get drafted. But I do love the hype of that sort of stuff. So
Yeah, Jaden Knott's an interesting one because he was someone who coming into college was expected to be really big, and he just ended up kind of tailing away. I think he was really good at Oklahoma for a year or so, and then he didn't really do too much. But he's someone that I think is a really good pickup in terms of later rounds or free agency or UDFA. But again, I think it's good because you were quite light at running back,
Yeah.
Obviously, you brought in Kenneth Walker, which is a huge, huge scalp, and take him away from Seattle. To add Emmett Johnson to him, who I've already spoken about, I think he's absolutely fantastic going forward. And then to pick up Jaden Ott as well, who I think is a good running back who's undervalued. It's especially in a team where you needed running backs because
We've got DiMarcado as well.
yeah, you got Demo, yeah, who bar his huge mistake at the Cardinals, I think did all right there.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't get a lot of touches, but when he did get touches, he picked up a lot of yards. So
Yeah,
you're right, it was a big need for the Chiefs for sure. I mean,
Just looking,
considering the leading rusher last year was Kareem Hunt with 611 yards. That is, and the Chiefs haven't had 1,000-yard rusher since Kareem Hunt's rookie season. This was a desperate need for them.
have you released Kareem, or has he signed your
No, but I
extension?
think he hasn't
I,
signed back yet, and as much as I like him for the team, like he's a battering ram. He's especially in those short yardage situations, he's great for that sort of thing, and he's very good in pass protection as well. So he might, who knows, he might still sign back, and one of these other guys might be let go. It might be the end of Brashard Smith, the seventh round pick we picked up last year with Emmett Johnson coming in. So we'll have to wait and see with the roster cuts and stuff when it comes to the actual roster. But yeah, I'm excited to see what the Chiefs running back room is going to do this year compared to previous years. That's for sure.
Talking of your UDFA, you've signed 3, and you've
Yeah.
got 1 trying out, all running backs.
Yeah.
You've got Jaden Ott, EJ Smith, Terry and Stewart, and Al-J Henderson trying out.
Yeah, and then we picked up some. I need to look up the name of this wide receiver.
Wide receiver, 2 seconds. Oh, it's not on your list. Oh,
Jeff
I'm on.
Caldwell, that's his name. 6'5", out of Cincinnati.
I had him on my list as someone I wanted the Rams to take.
Yeah.
He was on my list. He is an absolute monster. I wanted him because he has that
Just
mixture.
get him in the red zone and just throw him the ball, basically.
All you've got to do, he's one of those wide receivers where, if in doubt, and someone like Mahomes would use him so well, on it downfield, he's got the pace and the build of like he's another that reminds me of like a Michael Thomas, but rapid, absolutely rapid.
Yeah, he ran like a 4.26 or 4.28, something like that.
Yeah, he ran. It was ridiculous, and his build. He shouldn't be how fast he is for the size that he is. He was someone I was looking at for the Rams because, again, we need someone who's a deep ball threat, and to me, he's almost like the perfect deep ball threat.
Yeah.
Obviously, the likelihood is as time goes on, he probably will slow down quicker than a smaller receiver, but.
Yeah, and also I know there was detractors from him for the stuff of I mean his releases are pretty average, like he's like there's areas he's got to improve on, but if you could just take a flyer on a guy that's 6'5", and then people like the comparison was Megatron, I'm like I'm gonna take that even if he just makes the practice squad or does make the active roster, love to see it. We'll have to wait and see but then I guess kind of to wrap it all up, we did have a UK representative at the 2026 NFL draft. Seydou Traore, the tight end, was selected.
Couldn't have gone to a worse team.
By the Miami Dolphins at the 180th overall pick. So great to see another
amazing for him.
British tight end and another British representative come through the pathway program and get a chance. We already saw Spencer Clayton for the Bills. I mean, he hasn't done too much, but still being on the active roster or even a practice squad is just amazing and shows the development that we've had, as well as the kind of different players from other countries as well. Nigerian players, the Eagles seem to love taking those. Ewa Bernard was one of those as well.
The Saints kicker, Irish, wasn't he?
Yeah, Charlie Smythe. So you love to see the international players also get drafted, not just the homegrown talent in the US as well. But that about wraps it up. what an incredible draft it was. Even if it was quite top heavy, we still got some twists and turns.
As far as
Especially the
trades
Ty
go,
Simpson pick, that was for sure, as well as many others. But yeah, that just about wraps it up for us. And
felt
hurdle
like
that draft.